Ladies and gentlemen, this is internet personality Vangelus here with another dose of Getter Rays from the satellite known as HLJ. This is Getter Dragon, the most iconic of the combinations of Getter Robo G, and much like Neo Getter 1, an excellent Revoltech robot. Now, the head sculpt does get a little bit gummy in the up-close, that's just a Revoltech thing, but as you can see, this dude has that same thing I loved about Neo Getter 1, where he can kind of assume a neutral stance. And for Revoltechs, or really for anything Kyoto, that ain't bad when it comes to super robots. You do have to cheat a little bit though. His shoulder joints I pulled out slightly from the pegs to get another click of downwards motion out of them. Without it, he starts to just look like, you know, he's dynamic, he's thrusting his pelvis forward so you all know that he's a manly robot. But he's pretty cool. He's got very nice Revoltech joint placement all over the place. He's got the collapsible inner shin so he can double joint his knees like this. Humongous gap in there, but to be honest, I really don't care. The problem is that this double joint knee thing's cool, and it's supposed to move itself back out afterwards, but on mine, he kinda doesn't, and you have to sort of futz it out by pushing against it with the insides of the kneecap pieces. Otherwise, he's got very excellent Revoltech joint placement. They all work, they all do what they're supposed to. He's got that gorgeous Revoltech neck joint with the swivel. You get a lot of posing options out of this guy, just for simple super robot fist fighting. Now, he does have a lot of accessories, like many newer Yamaguchi Revoltechs. And like many newer Yamaguchi Revoltechs, they come in a nice, handy orange box, which can hold 2 pairs of hands and a coin. He doesn't only come with that, I mean, he also comes with a stand. And, you know, he has an effects part. You can understand why that wouldn't fit in there, but the thing about this dude is he has a whole lot of accessories, and almost none of them can fit in his little orange box. I'm not complaining, though. I just think it's kind of funny. Swapping his hands is easy like cherry pie, if you're good at making cherry pie. And he's got that kind of nice thing where it's a nice thick joint going in. How many times did I say nice there? And you also get this hinge at the wrist. And I like that, because when you do this, he's got a bit more of a I'm about to do something look with the I've got fingers hands, and you can approximate a pose in which he'd be deploying the Getter Wing. And these Getter Wing pieces, very interesting design, it's very practical, they just peg right in here, and unfortunately, due to the plastic tolerances, sometimes they go in flush like this, which is nice, and then sometimes it's a little bit more work. I've pushed these in and out a lot, but sometimes I still get like a gap here, which is bigger than the gap here, and I kind of wish I didn't, but at the same time, these are relatively inexpensive for the sheer amount of plastic that you get. He's got this incredible silhouette on the back, and if you use him in tandem with the base, then this dude is floating, ready to deliver one of his ultimate attacks, the Getter Beam. And since he doesn't have a giant, horrifying peg hole in the middle of his face, they give you an entire alternate head to display the Getter Beam effect. And this is a very painless head swap. I was afraid it was going to be a case of me pulling the whole neck out and having to put the joint back in, but no, you get this really effective Getter Beam effect. And it's topped off with the effects part. With this, you can do some cool display options, like okay, maybe it's not like the most world-breaking thing I've ever seen, but as an accessory, this effect part is kinda neat and pretty unique compared to a lot of the other stuff I collect. His final remaining hand option are these hands, which are designed to hold things. What do they hold? Getter Tomahawks, of course. The Getter Tomahawks are beautiful accessories. They slide in with very little resistance. I doubt there's going to be a lot of paint scuff in there. They've got this beautiful metallic sheen. These spikes hurt, so do be careful with them. They are not child-friendly whatsoever. In fact, they're barely child-friendly. And thanks to his copious Revoltech posability, he can do all kinds of stuff, wielding his axes all over the place. And that isn't the end of it. He does have a little bit of limp wristing here if you're waving him around, but since most people don't wave Revoltechs around, I'm a unique and special flower, you shouldn't have too many problems when you're just setting him up for a cool display or something like that. Now, he has one last accessory that relates to the Tomahawks, in fact, and This is an interesting one. It's this thing. What's this for? What do you think it's for? You won't believe what this is for.
Guitar Tomahawk!
Basically, in order to make it look like it's a spinning Getter Tomahawk, you get this, which you put on the existing stand, make sure it's angled up so it doesn't just fall off, and it sits very loosely so that you can literally spin it. And this actually kind of works, until you do that. It's very loose. Some might ask, why are there two blades on there? This is not meant to be, I don't think, both tomahawks put together. It's just that this way you can more so approximate the look of a spinning tomahawk axe. I don't know, I think it's a really neat idea, especially for a display-oriented line like Revoltech to include more or less like a full-on toyetic action feature like this. I don't know, I kind of like it. I don't think Devastator does, though. It's gonna be hard to yank out of his face. So is the Revoltech Getter Dragon worth it? In my opinion, absolutely. He's a solid Revoltech of a solid super robot design with a lot of retro charm and some really intensely cool accessory ideas. However, his accessories gotta work for you. Every one that doesn't work for you, it's gonna really impact your purchase. The spinning axe is definitely one that's gonna be divisive, and the beam effect parts may or may not hit your fancy. But really, just take a look at this. If getting all this is not good enough for you, then, you know, you probably won't like him. But Revoltechs, as they are wont to do sometimes, can be on sale for pretty decent prices here and there. So if you have an open mind and a little bit of spare cash, and some good luck, I'd recommend checking out Getter Dragon. I don't know if I'd recommend him over Neo Getter. I definitely think he's a more iconic and way cooler looking design, but Neo Getter has a lot of modern charm to him, so if you're not a retro super robots kind of guy, or female onlooker, then Neo Getter might do it more for you. But I don't think that you'll be disappointed if you pick this guy up. Anyway, this has been Internet Personality Vangelus. And have you ever hurled a giant robot tomahawk at a cybernetic dinosaur in the pale moonlight? Have you? 'Cause I have.